core values are security, efficiency, confidentiality, uprightness, resourcefulness, and excellence. Therefore, our values are secure. When you think of CSCS, when you think about investing in the Nigerian capital market, think about the values that drive CSCS. And I will give you the reason for you to feel confident about our market is that we are driven by secure. So your assets are secure with us. The only entity in the world that rates CSDs and custodians. They only rate CSDs and custodians. They don't rate banks, they don't rate, so their core expertise is risk management in that aspect of the capital markets. In fact, somebody even asked them whether they do it for exchanges. They said no. They only look at where the money is. What are our functions? I think I've mentioned depository and sub-registry for all eligible securities, clearing and settlement on DVP, issuance of ISIN codes. In fact, this is the one market that doesn't trade using the ISIN code. We're still using FBN rather than some number with NG on it, which is, we are the authority that issues the code, global code, for all securities issued in Nigeria, whether they are fixed income or equity. And with the recent move, there is a meeting in Rome where Joe and I are going to attend, where they have actually nominated CSCS as a candidate for an election to the board of the Global Association of Numbering, National Numbering Association, which is ANA, which is the authority that issues ISIN codes. Share certificates alone is not it. We have to bring it into the system and be in that CSCS software box or whatever, so that it would be traded. It brings in all the other parties. This is, by the way, some of the stuff I have just mentioned, which is our when a trade happens, we basically do the clearing, which is determine who are the obligators, who are the obligations rest with who and who is owed and who is supposed to pay. And then the files are pushed to the banks, because all the brokers have their accounts with the settlement banks, via NIPS, by the way. So we advise NIPS and the banks. The banks are supposed to respond to us so that we know on our risk dashboard to see who and who have still not fully funded their account. And then where there is a lag, we now notify the exchange, because the exchange is the entity that can penalize the brokers if they have a failed trade.
I think the incident you may have noted is market crash. That's not the kind of risk I'm talking about. What CSCS role as the central securities depository and as the clearing and settlement entity for the Nigerian capital market is that when a transaction is happening on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, when securities are being sold, the CSCS is critical, pivotal in ensuring that those securities are available that are being sold. And during the clearing and settlement cycle of that transaction, CSCS ensures that delivery versus payment is tightly coupled. It's a risk if I sell you something I have to you and you have not yet given me the money. It's a risk for you to part with your money for a security that you may or may not receive. So the role of CSCS as the risk minimizer is that as far it ensures that the sellers are getting their monies and the buyers are getting the securities for which they have made payment. And that transaction, which is called DVP, delivery versus payment, is tightly coupled, is ensured that that is done every day without the risk of having a failed trade. And so that's the entire reason why I mentioned that CSCS as a CSD is a risk minimizer. This is where risks in the market are minimized. Now, the idea of whether you should buy a certain stock or sell a certain stock is not the role or function of CSCS. It is actually that of your broker or your financial advisor. And also you as an investor should ensure that you are knowledgeable before you invest. If you are not knowledgeable, then you should be investing in what is called collective investment schemes or mutual funds, where professional fund managers, for a small fee, will take your money and buy the securities or invest in the stock market appropriately.